Good morning from the greenhouse.
Good morning. All right, we're going to talk about marigolds today, and it's kind of a gloomy day in the greenhouse, and we had a little rain last night, so it's not normal that you would see me in a sweatshirt in the greenhouse, but today it's just kind of a little icky out, but we're doing our work, and we hope that you're enjoying. Joining us live from the greenhouses, and you can also watch us later on too. It doesn't have to be live, but at least you can ask questions if and we can answer them live.
And just to clarify, we only see some of the questions or comments. It could be because of security settings, but if we're not answering them right on the spot, we will get to you after that. We'll add in the comment.
We sit down later on and try to go through and answer the questions and get to it a little bit later on. So today we're talking about marigolds. Marigolds are a very popular flower for us. We sell, I don't know how many thousands of marigolds we do sell, but they are very popular. So we want to take you through the different types of marigolds, where to plant them, what the care is, and then also how you can use them in your garden. So let's talk about the French marigolds. There's two different types. I'm going to say three different types of marigolds that we sell ourselves. But in the French marigolds are the shorter, they're about 8 to 10 inches tall. And if you can see here, but we have this type of French marigold is more of the bushier flower. It's kind of like a double petal, whereas this French marigold is more of the single petal. And it's all on preference. What type you like. Marigolds are typically going to be in the colors of yellows, oranges, into the reds. There's mixes that we have. Unfortunately, there's no blue or pink marigolds yet. They haven't developed them, so you are kind of stuck in that family of hot colors. So the other type of marigold that we sell, we call them the Incas because that's the brand that we grow. Incas are the really tall marigolds that grow 14 to 16 inches tall, and they have that really big head on them. Now, whatever your preference is, some people like the Incas, some people like the French type shorter marigolds. It's all on preference. They do perform about the same. They have a lot of the same characteristics and care. So there is another type of marigold that we don't sell. My mom, for instance, she grows her own. It's called crackerjack, and it's like a bush that grows up, and it grows very, very tall. It's maybe 3 to 4 feet tall, and it has kind of a bigger head on it, but it's more of a sparse, it's not full of flowers like, think of like a petunia is just absolutely full of flowers. It's a little bit more sparse, the flowers here and there, but they are kind of cool. So what's our first question? Do you have any questions or?
No, but I have your mom saying hello.
Hi,
and
Mom.
Your cousin Mary and Tom
Hi
saying.
there.
They're all saying good morning.
Good morning.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about how they grow as far as the light, the water, the heat, the standard stuff that people want to know.
Okay, so marigolds are a full sun flower, so we do need to have them in the sun. They're very heat tolerant. They can handle going a little bit drier. And one of the tricks that I know for me in the greenhouse is, say it's a hot sunny day, and I have to make sure there's certain flowers I have to make sure that are getting watered, like your petunias. There's some fussy plants that they'll kind of whine as soon as it starts getting hot and a little bit drier. And one of the ways that I go through with my marigolds, and I can tell if they're dry, is the leaves will start getting a little bit spindly and a little bit droopy. And it's kind of cool. I should film it sometime. But I'll spray water over them, just like mist it. And as soon as that cold water hits them, the leaves will like get real spindly and kind of go down. And I know then that they are dry. If they're not dry, the leaves will just stay the same. But it's like instantly. As soon as I spray them, the leaves will kind of go like this, and I'm like, okay, I know that these benches of marigolds are in fact dry. So that's just kind of a cool thing that I get to see on my end as a grower. So full sun, we want to make sure that they're getting at least 6 to 8 hours of sunshine each day. We don't want to be putting them in the shade. Care as far as cleaning them up.
Why don't you go into, so you want full sun.
Okay.
Because you want heat.
Yep.
And then watering, do you want to keep them real wet? Do you want them dry?
Don't overwater your marigolds. They do like to be a little bit drier. And I'm saying that cautiously because I don't want you to go the other end of, well, Scott said they go dry. I'm not saying that. They can go a little bit drier. So you can see the soil is really wet. I had watered yesterday, so this is probably a little bit too wet for the marigolds.
For a consistent...
For a consistent going forward, but I'm not concerned about it because the greenhouses, they're going to dry a little bit faster than they will when they're outside in your yard. So a little bit drier, not bone dry. Keep them consistently moist, I guess I would say.
And why don't you show them, we're doing marigolds today because they're starting to bloom and everybody wants to see that color a little bit, but also because we have to now deadhead all of these blooms off so that it makes the plant grow thicker and nicer for you when you come in, because we don't want them spindly. So why don't you talk about the maintenance of them a little bit?
So deadheading marigolds, it's a lot of work for us because we have thousands of marigolds, and there's a few of the plants and flowers that are a lot of work for us to do almost a daily basis, whether it's marigolds or cleaning up geraniums. We talked about verbena a couple days ago. Verbena needs to be cleaned up. So those are more of our higher maintenance. Marigolds are very easy to care for and to water and to plant, but you do need to go through and deadhead them. So once this flower is done, and it'll show you, these are all, of course, these are just budding and just blooming now. So I'm going to be plucking fresh flowers. So this is not what it looks like when it's ready to be deadheaded. But I'm going to pinch right behind the head, okay, and take that flower off. Now, marigolds do smell, or they have a smell to them. So if you're going to be doing a bunch of deadheading in your flower beds, in your containers, and you don't like the smell, then you might want to wear a glove, because your fingers will be yellow, they will stink, they'll have that smell on there for the next day. So just be aware that they do have a smell to them, and that's actually a good thing, because that smell is also something that keeps away critters and pests. So if we can go into our next topic of...
So deadheading the leaves or anything, if there's any bad leaves,
if there are leaves that need to be taken off, it's the same thing. Just go ahead and pinch it and just take that off. It's no problem. They're very hardy. You're not going to wreck them. They'll just go right through into the next bloom cycle, or it actually will help them bush out more. So you're not going to hurt them by pinching them. You can use the scissors too if you want to cut them down.
A little tip for people who are vacationers, that you're leaving the house and you see that all your marigolds are in bloom and that when you come back they're going to need to be deadheaded, go ahead and snip those heads off right away and get that in the cycle so that when you get back home,
yep,
one, it's going to use less energy because it's not going to be trying to bloom, and you'll have blooms when you come back home.
Nice fresh blooms. So I wish we had like smell-o-vision, because I can smell this already, this flower that I just plucked off. I wish you could share it with you, but if you know what the marigolds smell like, you can already smell it. It's just a very distinct smell. And like I said, that is something that's kind of good, because pests and critters do not like marigolds, generally speaking. So you can use marigolds in your garden if you want to set up like a barrier. Now, here's my blanket statement. If you don't want deer or rabbits or chipmunks in your garden, the only surefire way to prevent that is to put up a fence. This is going to be a secondary resource. You know, if you don't want animals in your garden at all, you're gonna have to put up a fence. But if you don't have that, or you don't have the resources to put up the fence, you can plant marigolds around your garden or an area where you don't want critters to be. And generally, they stay away from it. Generally, they don't like the smell. And as I'm going through and I'm deadheading my marigolds, just throw them down, because this still has smell, and this is gonna rot down into the ground, and it's gonna have that smell, and they don't like that. It's almost like going around your garden with the what's that chemical that they spray the deer off? It's made with like garlic and rotten eggs, and that really smells. So this would be
to the point of it deters people.
It's terrible smelling. It'll make you gag. So this is a much better way of doing that around your garden. Use marigolds. Use a bunch of them. Deadhead them and just throw them on the ground, because the critters don't like the smell. Also, the pests, the insects, the non-beneficial insects, they don't like the smell. So, and yet the bees, the butterflies, the pollinators, they don't mind it. You will attract in the pollinators. They don't mind it at all. But the harmful bugs tend to stay away from marigolds, generally speaking.
Another tip that my mom always did was planted a nice, beautiful marigold plant at the beginning of a row and at the end of the row, because when you're planting, as everybody knows, you're waiting for those seeds to come up in your garden. It gives you a good baseline of where you can till or walk.
You absolutely forget, you know, where did I plant those beans? Well, go ahead and put a marigold at the front and all the way at the end, and you kind of know exactly where your lines are. And then it also has that effect of keeping the critters away.
So really, is there any other information on the marigolds as far as, we're going to go back because of course our other business is the fertilizer, so let's bring that right back into it.
So fertilizing marigolds, again, this fits right into that general category of, you're still going to fertilize about once a week with the Beat Your Neighbor fertilizer. That's going to give you plenty of nutrients every week to really boost and get the flowers going. Especially if we're deadheading a lot, we want to push the nutrients so that it flowers again. And that's what the fertilizer does. It makes the plant healthy, but it also produces the blooms. So go ahead and fertilize once a week, and that's going to keep on spitting out blooms on the marigolds.
And we always have fertilizer here at the store.
Yep.
During this time when the store is closed, where can they get it?
You can still go online at beatyourneighbor.com, and you can order online there. Also, again, we have all the resources, the blog articles, the how-to videos. There's a lot of resources there.
So just a little something off topic. When we're looking through these videos, we're so used to the greenhouse and, you know, how the covering is, how everything works. They're seeing all these little white drippers all behind your head.
So these are, I don't know where you can see, but these drippers, we grow anywhere between 1,000 to 1,400 hanging baskets, and they're a lot of work to water them every day. So we actually have a dripper system that each dripper goes into a hanging basket, and I can set the amount so that it automatically waters, and gives them a specific amount. For say 30 minutes, they're getting watered and or fertilized at least once a week right through the drip system. So that's what those are.
And then, our greenhouses are large. These are the back greenhouses. Why don't we have people come back here to shop if we have all this merchandise?
Well, for these greenhouses back here, and most people don't even realize these greenhouses are back here. They're used to coming into our front greenhouses, which are really our sales area. But we grow back here, and all these benches actually move on a rail system. So we can move these benches around. But they're kind of a tripping hazard. That's why we don't want customers coming back here. So we take from here, we grow back here early on, say starting in February, and we move all the plants and flowers up to the front greenhouses.
And for anyone watching, we're actually located in Crivets, Wisconsin, which is an hour north of Green Bay.
Yep.
We'd love for you to stop in and say hello and say that you've been watching us Facebook Live.
Yep, absolutely.
That'd be great. We're going to...
I want to show, we didn't show this new one.
Oh.
This is a new marigold for us this year, and it's called Strawberry Blonde. And look at it, it's just beautiful. It's this kind of a red, darker red. It's a really unique color. So I'm excited, and they're just started popping for us, so we're just seeing the color for the first time. This is a new one that we wanted to try this year, so I'm excited about how it's turning out. So we're going to take a break tomorrow, Sunday, so we won't be live tomorrow, but we will be back Monday morning, 10 a.m., and we're going to talk about what?
We're going to talk about an indoor plants. I think I'm going to do my two favorite plants, the Sansevieria and the ZZ plant. We'll be out here in the greenhouse yet because it's just beautiful and you get to see everything start growing and coming alive. But we're actually going to switch over next week to a few of the indoor house plants and care for them. That way we can give some of our blooming plants maybe a week to bloom out a little bit more so we get more color when we're talking about them.
Yep. And let us know what you want to see. We're going to be doing this for a while, so go ahead and comment on here or any one of the videos. Comment, we'll see it. What topics do you want us to talk about? And or what do you want to pick our brain on? What questions do you have for us? So go ahead and give us a comment and let us know what you want to see. I think we're also still going to talk about soil, probably pest management, how to make sure that you don't have insects, harmful insects. One of our most popular blog articles on our Beat Your Neighbor website is on homemade weed killer. So it's something that we use here in the greenhouse, and I wrote up this blog article, and it ended up being very popular when people search on Google. Somehow our article came onto the first page, so there's almost always 5 to 10 people sitting on our website reading that article. So it's kind of cool just how the analytics on Google works. But it's by far our most popular blog article is on that homemade weed killer, and so I think we're going to talk about that also at some point.
So I just had a private message come through, and they asked if they want to pre-order hanging baskets or plants.
Yes.
Do we do that?
Yes, we do. You can't see that, but this greenhouse, about 1/3 of these hanging baskets are already sold. So we take pre-orders. Our hanging baskets are it's kind of our niche. It's what we're really, really known for. And so people from all over, we've had people as far away from Iowa come up and get our hanging baskets. And so those really popular colors, we have people start pre-ordering, because sometimes you have a series of colors that's popular and they're all sold out before we even open the doors. So we started taking pre-orders, and that's one of the ways that you can make sure that you get what you want. And we start taking those pre-orders for the next year already. So people have already ordered ahead. Like I said, we've got about 1/3 of these hanging baskets that are already sold. So yes, you can pre-order hanging baskets. You tell us what you want in the 10 and 12 inch hanging baskets. What we don't do for pre-orders,
vegetables.
Yeah, we don't get into
packs.
Hey, can you save me a pack of marigolds? No, I'm sorry. It just doesn't work for us that way. There's too much going on, and it's too hard to keep track of. So we do the hanging baskets because it's real easy to put a tag on them and, hey, this is sold for this person. But we don't do like the vegetables, or, hey, just save me a pack of tomatoes. We don't do that.
All right. So we will see everybody on Monday. Again, we're going to be talking about the house plants, Sansevieria and the ZZ plant. So we will see you then.
See you Monday.